Okay, how many of you have ever heard of Paris, France? Has anyone been there?
Yeah.
You have? That's awesome. Okay, so today we're going to take a little trip and read a story about Paris, France as well. And while we're going through it, I want you guys to think about making connections. So while you're reading, what makes you think about your life or something else? And then make a prediction. So what do you think is going to happen? Or ask yourself questions if you come up with any. Before we start reading, at the bottom of your worksheet, I want you to write a prediction for what you think this story will be about based off the cover. So look at the cover, and at the bottom of your worksheet, write what you think is going to happen in those words.
Just write down what you think.
Okay.
So I'm going to take my idea up here.
Take about 30 more seconds to write down your prediction.
Right now.
It can be anything. It doesn't matter if it's wrong.
Over in the weather.
Yeah, at the bottom where it says I predict.
Hot and tough stuff, coastal skies. Crab and your babies scuttle in the swells. The wind stirs moss like
Okay, so my prediction.
So for this one, I have cotton puffs. So cotton puffs, when I think of that story in my head, I see little cotton balls.
So I predicted, based on the cover, that this story would be about a small man that fights larger opponents because he has boxing gloves on, and this man looks bigger than him. Okay, so
it was a large ringmaster is king.
oh, that's a cool prediction. All right, so while I'm reading, I'm going to give you guys some examples of some predictions, connections, and questions that I came up with, and I want you to think about your own as well, and this time write them around the Eiffel Tower as we go. 100 and a few odd years ago, in Paris, France, there lived a humble postman named Lalouche. He was small, Lalouche, and rather bony, but his hands were nimble, his legs were fast, and his arms were strong. For company, he kept a finch named Genevieve. His mustache was his other pride and joy. Lalouche's rented room was on the scene, but unlike all the other rented rooms, it lacked a window with a view. Lalouche pretended not to mind, but how he wished to see the brand new city lights. So here I made a connection, and I saw his little yellow bird, and it reminded me of my friend's little green bird named Pickles. So I put that in there. That was the connection.
What should we write?
You don't have to write anything. I want you to come up with your own connections and your own predictions and your own questions. I'm just giving you examples.
Oh, so these are questions?
Yeah. One day, Lalouche's boss pulled up and said, "Look here, Lalouche. The Postal Service has just bought a fleet of electric auto cars. A walking postman's far too slow. Je suis désolé, but we're going to have to let you go." So I came across this word, je suis désolé, this phrase, and I didn't know what it meant, so I had to ask the question, what does this mean? And I was thinking, while I looked at the rest of the sentence, that since they're firing him, what might you tell somebody before you're about to fire them, if you feel bad?
Oh,
Yeah, you might say, I'm sorry. So I was thinking that it meant I'm sorry, and that was correct. So that's an example of a question you can ask. And another question that I came up with was, what will Lalouche do now that he's fired? And just like that, Lalouche was sacked. Without a job, he'd lose his rented room. Without a room, there'd be no place for Genevieve. Are you nimble? Are you fast? Are you strong? The Bastille Boxing Club seeks sparring partners. We pay cash. So this page, I made another connection. The illustrations on this page reminded me of the movie Anastasia, when she's walking through Russia on her own. In that movie, it looks just like this, so that was the connection I made there.
So, swirling in the shadows, the spoonbill saw.
what if we got nothing down, like we cannot think of anything?
Well, just do your best to think of stuff. It's okay. You, a boxer? Cried Diamond Jacques, who managed all the fighters at the boxing club. I could sneeze and knock you down. But Lalouche refused to leave. Grown-up gloves and boxing booties were much too big. Luckily, the school next door had stairs. So here I made another connection. I thought about a movie that I saw where an old grown-up man went back to school, into elementary school, so he was old and they were all little still.
Flamingo.
Kind of like flamingos, they're called
The boxers all laughed when they saw Lalouche. "I'll zap him," cried Amphory. "I'll pound him to a pulp," said the Piston. "But first, I'll tie him in a pretty bow," said the Grack. So here I made a prediction, and I looked at how big all of these men were compared to LaLouche, and I thought that they would probably beat him in a fight. So that's my prediction there. So now I really want you guys to be thinking about your predictions and connections and questions, because then I want you to share with a partner and then share them with me. What do I do? Asked LaLouche in the ring at last. Hit me, said the Grec. C'est impossible, said LaLouche. So I didn't know what that meant, so I figured that the impossible looked kind of like the word impossible, and LaLouche has been pretty polite so far, so I was thinking he wouldn't want to hit somebody, so I was thinking that he was saying it's impossible.
No, it's impossible if like somebody is like 10 feet tall and a guy is like 7 feet tall. That is impossible. Like they can barely feel nothing.
Suit yourself, the Grec replied. He was a master wrestler who liked to twist his opponents into pretzels, but LaLouche was just too nimble. Next came Ampere. Let's see him squirm away from these, he said, holding up his gloves, which shone like polished copper. Ampere was electric in the ring. His lightning jabs were blinding. His speed was blazing, but LaLouche was even faster. Enough of this tomfoolery, the Piston said. It's time to crush the little man. The Piston leapt high into the air and landed on LaLouche. The postman crumpled to the mat. Voila, the Piston cried. It just takes strength. But LaLouche was even stronger. So here, I didn't know what the word voila meant, so I asked a question, what does voila mean? And I was thinking that since he just beat LaLouche and was standing over him triumphantly, it meant like, yeah, or here, or something.
Like, this is my house.
Yeah, exactly. What's happening? The Piston groaned. Pardon, monsieur, said LaLouche. So here I didn't know what pardon, monsieur meant, so I asked that question. And since I also still know that LaLouche has been pretty polite, pardon looks like pardon, like excuse me or I'm sorry, and monsieur kind of sounds like sir, so I was thinking it meant sorry, sir. Okay, so now I would like you guys to work in your groups that I told you. So you three, you two, and then you can work close in the back. I want you all to come up with a prediction or a connection or a question in the next minute or two, and then I want you to share them with me.
I thought it was a
Work with So what do you guys do? That's awesome. Is there anything you want to do that? Is there not? You want to share that with your group and maybe make that on your poster? Tell them what athletic, Okay, you two, make sure you're coming up with a prediction or a connection or a question and write it on a post-it, okay? All right, take about 30 more seconds to come up with yours. All right, hold on. I'll have to come share it in a second.
He is stronger and faster.
Did you three get one on a post-it yet?
Not yet.
Write one on a post-it.
Post-it, no.
Did you three in the back get one down on a post-it? You did? Okay, awesome. All right, about 15 more seconds. Get your last thoughts down. All right, so what did your group come up with?
We came up with...
Was it a connection, a prediction, or a question?
It is a connection.
Okay.
He is stronger and faster and athletic.
All right.
Wow.
Are you strong, athletic, and fast? So that's your connection?
Well, Well, I am best.
Cool. All right, what did you three come up with? A prediction, a connection, or a question?
A prediction.
All right, what do you predict? All right, can I have your post-it, please? This is prediction. All right. What did you two come up with? Oh, you came up with two. Nice. What did you two come up with?
Connection. The one with the foggy thing, when the girl, it was like the mama movie, and the other one when the boy was standing in the middle, that middle boy, it was like,
Oh, okay. What did you three come up with?
Just using whoever the trash tower.
Here, say this one when I pass you each around your own face. Alright.
Is this permanent?
Yeah.
Oh, this is permanent, you know that, right?
Alright, those were really good predictions and connections and questions. And I want you to keep thinking of them so that you can share each on your own with me. Okay. I hope I didn't hurt them, said LaLouche. Forget all that, said Diamond Jacques. You're a sensation. Next Friday night you'll fight the Anaconda.